So I'm sure that many people tuning into the webinar today already know the best way to explore the world is by bike as a cycle tourist. And there's so many great things about cycle tourism. And one of the best is that it's one of the most sustainable and healthy holiday options there is. It continues to grow in popularity across Europe as more and more people want to take active, environmentally friendly holidays. The further development of long-distance cycle routes, such as the Eurovelo network, and the rise in the use of e-bikes have also boosted cycle tourism by making cycling holidays even more attractive for people of all ages and abilities. And the economic benefits are substantial. Cycle tourism contributes 44 billion euros and over 500,000 jobs to the European economy each year. Cycle tourists bring many positive benefits to local economies. They visit areas less frequented by mainstream tourists, and they spend their money in local businesses. Local residents also benefit from the cycling route infrastructure, regional connectivity, and services that accommodate the cycle tourists. Cycle tourists on the move on their bicycles spread tourism to more rural areas, and they help to combat the over-tourism of the popular hotspots. So there's so many reasons to love cycle tourism. And the COVID-19 pandemic, as tragic as it is, has also further highlighted the many advantages of cycle tourism. Cross-border international tourism, as we know it, or used to know it, it seems like so long ago, and city trip tourism are not likely to return to the previous levels until a vaccine or a treatment is found. So more people will continue to vacation at home, or at least in their home country, increasing the demand for concepts and activities that help maintain social distancing and don't subject them to quarantine restrictions when they go home. Cycle tourism offers excellent solutions. We even have some evidence of the increased popularity of cycle tourism over the past few months. Visits to the Eurovelo.com website are up by 110% compared to last year. We know France has seen a significant increase of 31% in bicycle trips on Eurovelo post-lockdown. I'm sure Camille will correct me in the next section if that's not right. And the Netherlands has seen an increase of 74% in downloads of GPX files compared to last year. This summer, we launched the campaign #RestartCycleTourism to communicate and raise awareness about the benefits and the positive impact of this safer, sustainable, and excellent holiday option during the recovery and beyond, and to give it a boost. We wanted to use the campaign to grab the attention of not only cycle tourists or potential cycle tourists, but also policymakers and decision makers to communicate the benefits and to make a case for greater funding and investment in cycle tourism. We wanted to show there is so much potential, but we need further substantial strategic investment in it to fully realize the potential and to enable it to play its part in delivering the Green Deal. So the Restart Cycle Tourism campaign was not only a digital campaign on the Eurovelo and ECF websites and on social media, but also a tagline in our ongoing lobbying efforts to secure more investments in it. We've been calling for this investment at EU level because the EU's competence in the tourism sector is one of support and coordination to supplement the actions of member countries. And I'm sure that everyone listening today would agree we can all benefit from more EU support, especially financial support in this area. An example of our advocacy work, we were active participants in the EU Committee of the Regions public stakeholder consultation on sustainable tourism this summer. We also successfully applied for a slot to participate in the high-level European Tourism Convention workshop on greener holidays taking place next week on the 12th of October. In the application, we had to describe our vision for the future of green tourism in the next 10 to 20 years. We said, ECF's vision is one where people of all ages, abilities, and budgets have a wide range of high-quality, well-developed cycle tourism options in every EU country. We envisage not only greener, but more active and healthy holidays for all. This is a future not dominated by mass tourism, but one in which local economies in every part of Europe and small and medium-sized businesses of all kinds can benefit from people exploring Europe's hidden jewels by bicycle. So we'll be there to make the case for cycle tourism. More specifically, ECF has been calling on the EU to make at least 3 billion euros in funding available to cities and regions for the required investments to enable and boost cycle tourism. This would include investments in the following. So, firstly, the provision and signage of further high-quality, safe, and direct cycle routes, the development of cycle-friendly services, amenities, and concepts to attract and cater for increasing numbers of cycle tourists, the promotion of cycle tourism in European cities and regions as cycle tourism destinations, and increased funding for Eurovelo routes. ECF is very proud to manage the development and coordination for the Eurovelo cycle route network. The Eurovelo initiative is the biggest cycle route network of its kind in the world. When completed, it will total 90,000 kilometers spanning 42 countries. More EU funding would accelerate its development, leading to safer, direct, coherent, and connected cycling infrastructure across borders and cycle route networks that will benefit all categories of cyclists and give a further significant boost to cycle tourism and recreation, as well as everyday trips. This funding should also increase the financial support available to the Eurovelo national coordination centers and to establish new ones in partnership with the relevant stakeholders who implement and manage the routes. We also call on the EU to recognize Eurovelo as another trans-European transport network, in addition to existing networks such as road, rail, or inland waterways in the upcoming TEN-T revision. This would make the cycling network easier and cheaper to develop in future. To summarize, we think that campaigns such as Restart Cycle Tourism can be powerful tools to communicate why there should be strategic investment in cycle tourism, what exactly we want, and how this will deliver the benefits. So, to recap the why, it's a great, much safer choice in COVID times and beyond. It's for people of all ages and abilities. It boosts local economies and supports small and medium-sized businesses. It's linked to over 500,000 EU jobs. It attracts tourists off the beaten path, brings tourism to new areas, and combats over-tourism. It's compatible with the goals of the European Green Deal. It's active, healthy, and sustainable, and it still has a lot of untapped potential. Second, what do we want? We want 3 billion euros in EU funding. Of course, that sounds like a lot of money, but we can bolster our case by putting this ask into perspective. 3 billion euros is not much money at all when you consider the financial support that is being provided to benefit the airlines or other parts of the wider tourism and transport sectors. And this would be an investment in lasting sustainability. It's excellent value for money, and we're taking every opportunity to push for this funding. And finally, how will this investment in cycle tourism be used to deliver the benefits and bring positive impact? It will accelerate the development of Eurovelo, national and other cycle routes, and cycle tourists love well-developed routes. It will support services, amenities, and concepts that cater to cycle tourists, and it will support the promotion of European cities and regions as cycle tourism destinations. And these investments will deliver lasting solutions for the pandemic recovery and beyond. In closing, I'd like to mention one more campaign ECF has worked on for a long time that also benefits cycle tourism. It's our Cyclists Love Trains campaign. Last week, our longtime lobbying efforts helped achieve a breakthrough. For the first time in the history of the EU, railway companies will be obliged to provide dedicated space for bicycles on all new and refurbished trains. This is the outcome of the negotiations for the recast of the Rail Passenger Rights and Obligations Regulation. ECF intensively advocated over the past 3 years on the strengthening of the existing regulation, which didn't include any enforceable provision with regard to bicycles. The new regulation will make it easier for cycle tourists who want to bring their own bicycles to have an even more sustainable holiday from start to finish. Advocacy and communications campaigns can work, not always overnight, and you don't always get everything you ask for, but they're an important tool to help advance our goals. Thank you very much.